So if it's 4:30, we pull the gangway 4:30. We got 4 guests missing, so we're just finalizing permission to depart, and as soon as we get permission, we will depart.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Gareth Oliver, and if you've never heard of me before, this is your first time stumbling across me on YouTube, welcome. So to give you a bit of background before I kick this video off, which is super interesting by the way, I have been a comedian and ventriloquist for the past 26 years. I turned professional when I was 18 years old, back in 1999. I'm now 44 and I'm nearly 45. It's depressing, isn't it? But I've spent the last 15 years working predominantly in the cruise industry, performing on big stages on various cruise lines, Royal Caribbean, Princess, Celebrity, to name but a few. Interesting fact, I hold the record for the most amount of cruises undertaken by a guest entertainer in a year, and that was made in 2016 when my wife and I, we used to work together before we had kids. We performed on 74 different cruises.
Hello everybody, my name's Alice, it's nice to see you all tonight. Oh, hang on, he's always doing this to me.
It's not fair!
Hang on, Alice, are you doing my voice?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing that?
I'm a ventriloquist too, woohoo!
I don't believe it. You're really good.
You've never seen that before in your lives, have you? No! Oh, yeah.
Now I know what you're thinking, but there's only 52 weeks in a year. How is that possible when cruises are 1 week, 2 weeks? Well, as a guest entertainer, you get flown out to various ports. You can spend anything from 1 night to, 3 nights, 4 nights, 7 nights on a ship, depending on how long the contract is. We're self-employed as guest entertainers. So basically, we send our diaries to the bookers or to the agents, and they come at us with offers. Are you free for this date? Well, yeah, I'm kind of free for that date, but you're going to have to shorten it by a day because I've got to get to this ship and I need to travel there. So it's more traveling and logistics than actually performing. The show is relatively easy. It's the traveling that's the headache. Anyway, that aside, the reason that I'm making this video on this particular day from my cabin is because I am on Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas. I performed last night twice for 3,000 people in total, 1,500 people per show, and it was an amazing night. Great energy around the ship. Met a lot of wonderful people since performing last night.
I would go anywhere in the world to see you.
Yes, we would.
Yes.
Definitely.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yes.
There we go. UK tour coming soon. They'll be there front row.
Best ventriloquist ever. And you can sing, which was a pleasant surprise.
I saved that until the end.
What amazing! You were awesome.
Thank you, guys. This is my biggest fan, who's never actually seen me work. She missed the show last night, but she's heard that it was good. So we've been chatting for ages, now she's asked for a picture. She doesn't even know. It might not even be me that's on stage last night. It might be a massive wind-up.
Thank you, you're great.
And today we docked in Cartagena in Spain. Now all aboard time is mentioned at various points. It's listed on the program of events. It's in the app. It's well known. It's at the gangway. So there is no excuse really other than unforeseen medical emergency or something. There's no excuse for missing the ship. But that's what's happened today. So as I was leaving my cabin just after 4:30, I heard an announcement from the captain informing us that 4 people had failed to return to the ship for 4:30. He was very clear in his instructions. If you do not get back before the all aboard time, you are not coming. So these guys have literally watched their ship sail. You've heard the saying, right? That ship has sailed. Well, it has for them.
In Cartagena, I did announce several times this morning that 4:30 was all on board time. That applied to Ricardo, Carlos, Melissa, and Marguerite as well. So if it's 4:30, we pull the gangway 4:30. We got 4 guests missing, so we're just finalizing permission to depart. And as soon as we get permission, we will depart and let the guests enjoy Cartagena a little longer. Because the plan is to be on time in Barcelona, of course. Beautiful day in Cartagena today, and we're gonna head back to Catalonia, not a Spanish place, but in the area of Catalonia.
And when that happens, assuming that these people had not planned on missing the ship, they will have left all their belongings on board, including their passport. So what they have to do now is make their own way from Cartagena to Barcelona, where we're docking in the morning, in order to rejoin the ship, and that will be at their expense. Now, this brings into question the difference between cruise holidays and land holidays. Now, I've done both. I've worked on cruise ships for many years. I've also performed at various hotels, holiday resorts around the world. And I've also been on many land holidays. In fact, when we go on holiday as a family, my wife and I and our 3 children, we generally opt for land holidays because my wife loves the beach. She doesn't like the idea of having to keep on looking at her watch, because when we're at home, she's constantly working to a schedule, right? Because we've got kids that are in school now and they've got their extracurricular activities, and we've got so many things on. My wife's a personal trainer. We've got so much in the diary. When she goes on holiday, she doesn't want to look at her watch at all. And I'm assuming that these people that have missed the ship may be the same as my wife, you know? Now listen, I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. I'm not knocking cruising. Cruising is an incredible holiday. It's a great way of seeing the world. It really is. It's a great way, almost like a buffet. You know, certain foods you wouldn't normally eat. You wouldn't order them from the main menu. But when you're offered the opportunity to sample them at a buffet, you go, oh, wow, I never knew that tasted so good. I would order that as a main. So I feel like cruising is the same sort of thing in the way that you get to sample, have a little taste of various places, you know, that you never would have dreamed of going before. And you go, oh, you know what? This is really lovely. For example, so many places around the world that we would never have been, you know, certain places in Italy and Croatia, you know, Dubrovnik and Split and Kotor in Montenegro. There's certain places we never had heard of before. And then you find yourself working on cruise ships and you're visiting these places every month or a couple of months, and you're thinking, wow, I'd love to come here and spend a few days here. And we have done that. We got off a ship in Sorrento, and our next cruise, which was meant to start the following day, was cancelled. So we had 5 days off. So instead of going home, we had no ties back home then. We said, you know what, let's just go and spend 4 nights on Capri. And that's what we did. We ended up naming our second child Capri, and that is not where she was conceived, before you ask. Also Dubrovnik. You know, we've spent a lot of time in Dubrovnik. In between ships, if we had 2 or 3 days off, we'd say to the cruise companies, can we, at our own expense, just stay in Dubrovnik? And you just fly us from Dubrovnik rather than flying us from London. So cruising is an amazing way of seeing different places, and it just opens up your mind. It's also a massive melting pot of different nationalities and cultures.
Do you want to say hi? I'm a YouTube video.
I mean, what I need to do?
Say hi.
Nice
This is Ram.
welcome you.
What do you think about working for Royal Caribbean?
This is one of the best experience, you know, as a seafarer you can work, and you enjoy working with, you know, a lot of different nationalities. Not
Yeah.
only that, you visit a lot of places while working here, and it is very amazing experience, you know. You don't feel like working, you feel like every day enjoying.
Man,
that's
you
what
are,
I can
you,
say.
I don't know what they're paying you, but you're worth double. But I want to touch upon something that you said there. Obviously, this is not scripted. I've just stuck a camera in your face.
Yeah.
But you said about working with lots of different nationalities. And one thing that I'm very keen on promoting is the fact that no matter where you come from, what culture, what background, we can all get on. Whereas when you see the news, it's very divisive and scaremongering, trying to separate people, you know, these people against these people. I think you look at the cruise ship industry and you see crew and officers and passengers from all walks of life, all different countries, and everyone gets on, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you will meet a lot of crew member here, and you will see the smile on their face, and it's a very genuine thing. You will see, and you will see, and you will meet very amazing people, very different personality, and you will see the same thing, that happiness.
Yeah.
While working.
Yeah. Man, you are good. This guy's good. This guy is a credit to the company, isn't it? This guy, Ram of the Seas. We should name the next ship Ram of the Seas.
It's coming soon, huh?
The service is great on most ships. You know, there's so much to do, and it's a relatively safe environment because it is a controlled environment, right? Everyone sort of lives together, and everyone has their cards, their sea pass, you know, everything's done on board through that. So it feels very safe. However, I'm going to be honest, I have been in the position that these people were in today. I have watched my ship sail away. It was many years ago, before I met my wife, in fact. I think it was 2010. And I literally arrived in Southampton in a rental car, and I thought the ship left later than it did. And as I pulled up in this rental car, which I still had to return, to Enterprise, other car hire companies are available, I just saw there was no one there. And I ran up to the staff members wearing the high vis, and I was like, the ship, can I get on board? And they said they're just letting the ropes go now. And I was scheduled to perform that night as well. It was all advertised. I was going to be on at 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And honestly, in that moment, I saw my career in the cruise industry just coming to an end. I saw it all. This is what we do, right? We see these worst case scenarios. We play it all out, and it very rarely materializes. And then we think that was a waste of time and energy, wasn't it? We won't do that again until next time, and we do the same thing. But what happened was I messaged my agent and I explained the situation. I mean, I don't know how you explain the situation because I had all day to get to Southampton. I'm an idiot. But he got in touch with Princess and they said, look, we'll reschedule his performance, but he's got to fly out to Gibraltar in 2 days. So I flew out. I'll be honest with you, they actually paid for the flight as well, which I did not expect. They paid for the flight for me to get to Gibraltar. I went on board and I worked that night, and the show was absolutely amazing, which I was really pleased about, because the worst thing you can do is miss the ship, piss everyone off, and then 2 or 3 days later, turn up, go on stage and die in your ass, okay? So thankfully, it went really, really well. And, it was one of those things. They didn't hold it against me. I went on to work so much for Princess. I still work for them on a regular basis. But coming back to what kind of holiday to choose, if you know that your watch works and you have the discipline and you don't mind getting back to the ship at a certain time, then this is a fantastic way to holiday. You can't beat it. It's phenomenal. And the drinks are premium drinks as well. Unlike when you go on holiday to these, you get these local drinks, and you've heard some horror stories recently, right? Some horror stories about people drinking poison. You don't get that on the ships. The main positive, I think, about land holidays, it's quite a big one, is the fact, for my wife certainly, right, is the fact that you can get ready in the morning, have your breakfast, your lunch, whatever, head down to the beach or head into town, go and sightsee. You don't have to worry about getting back on time, because you know that when you get back, you're not going to see your hotel sailing away. That's literally what's happened today. These people have probably come to the port not being aware of the time and seen their hotel sailing away. That does not happen with a land holiday, right? And if it does, then that's a pretty bad day, isn't it? And you've got a lot more to worry about. So that's why my wife would prefer to go on land holidays. Firstly, she's been on hundreds of cruises, and also she knows that because I've been in the industry for such a long time now, that if we were to set foot on a cruise ship just on holiday without me actually performing, the chances are there'd be 20 or 30 guests that have seen me working before who would be coming up and saying, what night are you on, Gareth? I can't find you in the programme. So my wife's like, look, let's just go somewhere on land where we don't have to look at a watch, where no one knows who you are, and we can just have a proper holiday, so we can just switch off and you can fart and burp and pick your nose and I can sunbathe topless, So yeah, I don't really know how to wrap this up, but what I will say is, Royal Caribbean that I'm working for right now, if you have a young family in Royal Caribbean,
My kids would love this.
they've got everything. These new ships, they're insane. They are insane. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe, drop me a comment, tell me what kind of content you want to see in the future, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. It's not a wig, by the way.